What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be checking out a new plugin from Acustica Audio called Olive. Now, if you don't know what processor they're emulating or even what Olive is, don't feel bad. I had no idea what this console was either until I watched the well-done documentary that Acustica released with this plugin. Essentially, this is a console like one of not many. This is actually one of one. They made some other smaller versions, but from what I understand, this was the only console ever made by this company, Olive. And they dug it out of this barn and brought it back to life and then sampled it the way Acustica Audio does. So please make sure to watch the documentary if you're interested in that kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty cool to see where this whole plugin comes from. But in today's video, we're going to run it through our paces with some vocals, drums, and bass by my good buddy, Garrett Gregory. Let's get into it. All right, so I think what we'll do is just go through each section of it. This is one new thing for Acustica where usually they'll give you like the EQ compressor channel strip, but in this plugin, for some reason or another, they've only given you the pre, the EQ, and the compressor. There's no kind of channel strip. So let's go over the compressor first. It's pretty straightforward, and it sounds really good. I feel like Acustica is really starting to get compression and saturation down to a level that exceeds a lot of other plugin companies, and the compressors are finally like sounding like full-on compressors and just give an analog warmth and depth that some plugins don't get. So kudos to Acustica for getting there with the compression. It's been a long time, but here is Olive, the compressor section. You have just what you would normally have in any Acustica line, off, or mic, different pre's for the compressor, SH mod, which is a variation of the attack, sidechain filter, threshold, attack, release, ratio, makeup, dry, wet, which is cool to have. And this is the drive, which we'll take a listen to. It's something that you're starting to see with Acustica stuff, especially with their plugin Jam, which I love, has all the different saturation emulations with it. And then down here are a host of other details with it, you know, soft knee, mid, side, left or right. You can do panning. And then some other compressor settings that you can check out in the manual. I'm not going to try to dive into each one today. Let's switch this to the line, and we're going to play these drums and just start churning some knobs and seeing what this compressor can do. So great sounding, nice, warm, smooth compressor, not too colored, but does add some warmth to it. Let's just switch this over to the vocal and see what we can come up with there.
Working all the time while I drink too much. I'll never settle down, I'll never smarten up. I got a bad habit of breaking hearts and breaking rules. If I don't pick up the phone fast enough when you call, and I'm not jealous enough, hell, I've heard it all. Well, there's only so many things that this boy can do, but you ain't working all the time while I drink too much. I'll never settle down, I'll never smarten up. I got a bad habit of breaking hearts and breaking rules.
So you can see by putting that drive circuit in, we can really get a kind of grimy, grungy sound out of the compressor, and it sounds really good. I like it on vocals especially. Drums are nice, but it might be better on like just a kick or a snare as opposed to a drum bus. So that is the compressor. Let's check out this EQ. Now the EQ is a 4-band equalizer. You can boost or cut, and then you have like a shelf, a low shelf, high shelf type thing, or a low filter, high filter, high pass, low pass here, and then you can either do this in mid side or a pan for left and right, which is something they're adding lately, which is a pan, which is I guess kind of cool, especially if you have like a mono track that was recorded stereo, like in this case. You can use it as a panner. And then once again, the drive here. So let's just kind of play with this and see what we can come up with.
Working all the time while I drink too much. I'll never settle down, I'll never smarten up. I got a bad habit of breaking hearts and breaking rules. If I don't pick up the phone fast enough when you call, and I'm not jealous enough, hell, I've heard it all. Well, there's only so many things that this boy can do. Working all the time while I drink too much. I'll never settle down, I'll never smarten up. I got a bad habit of breaking hearts and breaking rules. If I don't pick up the phone fast enough when you call, and I'm not jealous enough, hell, I've heard it all. Well, there's only so many things that this boy can do. But you ain't working all the time while I drink too much. I'll never settle down, I'll never...
So really cool sounding EQ. Once again, not crazy colored, but we can add a ton of top end without it getting too sharp, which I think is always great. That's why I like using a lot of times Acustica plugins for the top end, because it somehow adds this warmth and brightness that doesn't get too harsh like some other plugins might. Okay, so lastly is the pre. And it has 4 different lines that have been sampled in 4 different mics. And a lot of times with these pre plugins in Acustica, it's a little hard to hear the difference between the two. But now if we crank up the drive, you can really start to hear kind of the subtleties between the different lines and mics. So we'll run this through the bass and let you guys hear it cranked so we can hear some of the differences. So that's the pre, still pretty subtle, but if you add those up to a couple of different channels, it can kind of give you a little more width and dimension that you might not usually get. Okay, so that is Olive by Acustica Audio. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you need a song mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. You can also find my courses and presets there too. Check you later.